lot, so it must be Jack in a parking lot episode. So anyway, to get to it, speed is not your friend. And no, I'm not talking about the stuff that you shoot to go extra fast. I'm talking about people who are rushing buying the buy box and trying to buy the deal. And so here's the thing. It's best not to rush into a market that you're unfamiliar with and just start buying stuff. You need to crunch the numbers for what you have learned with your market and how to move forward with it. If you don't know what an average deal is, BuzzTune! Are you back from Japan yet? But if you don't know what an average deal is and how you're going to base it off of what you do. Now, some things, I know the one rental at a time, Michael Zuber says, you need to spend 90 days. But what if we could speed that process up a little bit? What if we could speed it up? I tell you what you could do. There are 2 things I'm thinking that you could do to speed it up and maybe get yourself ready in a lot quicker than 90 days. So what if you invested with a group of people that were all in the same market area? For example, my channel is based off of Pittsburgh, which is why, I'm going to use Pittsburgh as an example. So if you had, let's say you're new and you're coming into the Pittsburgh market, why wouldn't you reach out to the people that invest in Pittsburgh? That would help speed up your process. You can quicker learn your market by using your resources correctly. Thing number 2, and it's coincidental that BuzzTune's here because BuzzTune is the one that gave me this idea. So when you go on to your Zillow and stuff and you mark your favorites and stuff, it will notify you when they sold and what they sold for. Another thing you do is when you're on Zillow, you can see what houses sold for, like the deals that you're looking at and stuff. And even if you weren't looking at them, you still can put them in your Excel spreadsheet, and you can run the numbers based off of those. Your insurance, your water, sewage, lawn maintenance, your 1/3 of gross that you're putting back for future repairs, all the fun stuff, all of the fun stuff. Just remember, it's only for the fun stuff. So if you did that, okay, then you could easily get your 90 days maybe down to 40, maybe down to 30. What if you could do it in 20 days by just doing those 2 things? Okay. What if you were able to talk to the people that are in the area, set up a time, come to the area? If you're not willing to come to, for example, Pittsburgh, then why would you want to invest here? I'm just saying, why wouldn't you want to set up a day or days and come check it out? Be like, you might be driving around, you're like, I'm not sure if you see my hands, let's back this up a little bit. Yeah, you're driving there like this, and you're like, this town is a cockapoo. I don't want to invest here. I don't feel safe. If you didn't do the drive-through, if you didn't drive through Pittsburgh like a Wendy's drive-through service, then why would you want to invest here? If you don't want to come here, I'm not saying that you should make it a regular basis, but at least check it out once before you spend your time putting forth money and stuff. It might be worthwhile. It might, unless you're just so confident in the area and you're using your resources, then you might be able to get away with that. But it still may be a good idea for you to come check it out on your own and get your own solid opinion about what you're doing. Because if you don't want to visit the area or have no reason to visit the area, why would you want to invest here? I mean, the money's great and all, but if you're never going to step foot in the town, then again, wouldn't you rather have your rentals either in a place that you might want to go visit or retire to, or something along those lines? I don't know. I'm trying to plant seeds in your mind of goodness. I'm trying to plant good seeds in your mind. So anyway, that's my suggestions for you. Just make sure that, like BuzzTune said here in the comments, to go slow is going fast, and it will make your life less stressful and hectic. And the other thing is just, make sure you know what you're buying for. I'll talk about myself. So if you do not have the patience to do remodels and stuff, then do not buy houses just because they're a good price that need remodels. It doesn't make sense. Okay, I'm skipping the comments on this one. I'm dropping what I did because Auburn Gold asked a really good question. What advice do you have for a 16-year-old? So, I'm assuming you're still in high school, and you're still, and granted, this isn't advice, this is just, I don't know. Do your own research, and what I'm about to say is what I'm really trying to get at with what I was trying to make it sound better. But do your own research. So I don't know you, and I don't know what your background is and where you strive or anything. But the days of the days of the white collar jobs are slowly going away. So unless you're thinking about going to school for something that is a trade, and by trade I don't mean unless you want to do this, this is up to you. Trade doesn't include stuff that's just electrician, plumber, truck driver, all the working trades of that aspect. Trades include stuff that's like lawyer, your attorneys, doctors, dental hygienist. A trade is something that just means that you're working with your hands and your mind that is impossible to be shipped overseas. So my suggestion, and I'm going to put myself in your question here. So if I was to do it again, okay, I would not have gone to college, although I do have an engineering degree. I would not have if you're going to school for an engineer, make sure it's a engineering field that you can get a job out of when you're done. Because like for me, I went to school for engineering and biomedical engineering, which my field of study was to work on biomedical equipment, or like hospital equipment, and designing circuit boards and circuitry and working with electrical and stuff. Make sure you're doing something that you're going to be easily able to get a job. So you want to focus on that, whether it be mechanical or I can't think of any other types off the top of my head, but no, I never heard of GEE. But you may end up having to move out of your area, so like to another market to where you can, like if you can get your degree where you're at with I'm assuming since there's not that many jobs, so that your price of living is probably less. You may then have to move to someplace where you can get a good job. And I would say try to calculate what your ROI is, your return on investment. So like, let's say I'm making up numbers, okay? You can, make sure you read BuzzTune's comment. That's good advice too. But make sure you calculate how much debt you're going to be into for your career of how much you're going to be making. And the other thing is, I would recommend is try to keep your debt low. Like, it's going to be very hard if you're going to go that route. And there's nothing wrong with taking out some debt, but like, just make sure you can get it paid off in like 3 or 4 years. That way you can start looking towards your future. After that, in your career, max out your 401k and what you can do with that. And try to set back, I want to say, like half your paycheck if you can. I'm talking, ideally, try to set back half your paycheck to go buy rental properties if it's something you're interested in. If it's something you're interested in. So like it'd be a good idea to get into real estate and becoming a landlord. If you don't want to do that, that's okay. You know, there's nothing wrong with you're so young. Okay, you're so young, so it wouldn't matter if it took longer for you to do the stocks method. And Dion, the guy that BuzzTune was just referencing, he always references a guy called BuzzTune. I'm forgetting his name. What's the guy's name? I'm sorry, I'm forgetting the guy's name. I'm hoping BuzzTune throws it in the comment section, but he does the buckets method. And if you just stuck with just simple indexes, I'm not going to list too many here. I just because I don't want to get in. Joe Kuhn, yeah. So so check out Joe Kuhn if you decide to do the stocks thing. I'm not familiar with GE Engineering, so I don't know what opportunities you would have here in the States, but the States overall is probably better than what you're used to over in India. So I would say, I mean, they call it the land of opportunity for a reason. I would say do your research on where you want to live, stay out of the problem cities that are, you know, people are having trouble with right now, is what I would suggest. And see what you can do with your engineering degree over here. And yeah, keep in mind, okay, so since you're in India, it's probably not that way over here or over there is here. When you invest in the real estate, okay, we have 30-year fixed rate debt. So like you buy a rental property, for example, I'm just using rental properties because that's what I do. You buy a rental property and your interest rate is locked for the duration of the mortgage. So you don't have to worry as much about all the interest rate adjustments and stuff. So if you're locked into, like, our biggest problem is in real estate right now is that there's a lot of people that aren't moving up into the house, into the next up house. They're staying locked in with where they're at because of the fact that they're locked in with an interest rate of like high 2s, low 3s and stuff. But even if you bought something now at an interest rate, let's say, I'm going to overly blow it up a portion, let's say you're at 9.25%, which there's no reason why you should be, but let's say you're at 9.25%, you just wait for the interest rates to go down and you can refinance and you'll be all happy and giddy and stuff. Lindsay, I watched your latest video. It was good. I really enjoyed that. Thank you for posting that. I swear I'm going to make it to one of your out of state investing live streams at some time, whenever I'm not sleeping. But anyway, I'm just looking at the time. I have to get going into work, and I want to thank all you for joining me for as long as you were here. Try to share this if you want to. Hit like, subscribe if you want to. We talk about real estate and other investing, and just let the sun hit you in the shoulders and have a day full of awesomeness.